LAProbate and so Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific, Probate Weekly. We get together every Thursday to talk about all things probate real estate for investors and wholesalers looking to solve problems with deals, real estate agents, and how to sell property more effectively. We have often interview attorneys, vendors, and try to find practitioners to help us all improve our business. We also occasionally get some personal representatives who have some problems and want to share with us and look for solutions. So we do it every Thursday, 4 p.m., and you can register at probateweekly.com. If you're watching this live and you're on the Zoom, it's meant to be interactive. So, ask questions, unmute yourself, or raise your hand, I'll call on you, and love to help you any way we can. And if you're watching this on the live stream, either YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, if you're live, we can catch your questions there and chat. If not, we'll catch them afterwards. Again, my goal here is to be interactive. This is not meant to be a webinar, not selling anything. We're just looking to work together and help each other be more successful in our mutual businesses. So let's see, where were we? And then today, this is the Christmas Eve of Christmas Eve, I guess. We're calling it Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday is Christmas Eve, Saturday being Christmas. I'm Jewish, so I don't even have a dog in that time. But I am American, and I do appreciate, that it's a holiday. I do appreciate so many people are off and with family and using it as a way to, as an important part of their lifestyle. And at this time of year, I also have a lot to be thankful for. This call, we started this last year. This past year has grown tremendously, and where we get a great turnout weekly. We then expanded this year to a YouTube channel that also dramatically increased our reach, the people that we talk to and interact with on a daily, weekly basis. And it's been a fantastic business tool for me as well. And on a personal level, I appreciate being able to help so many people. So I would like to be thankful this time of year. And so when it came time to do this call, frankly, I have taken off time during the year, and I had this week today on my days scheduled to get you working, and next week as well. So I figured I might as well do the call. I'm not sure who would show up, but I know I want to contribute. And this is a great turnout today, so I'm excited to have you guys here. So again, it's meant to be interactive. If you have any questions, feel free to either put in the chat box or raise your hand, and or if you're watching on the live stream, jump in live as well. We'll try to catch you there. And then if you're watching after the fact, have questions, put on there as well, and we'll do our best to circle back to you one way or another. So also, I'm really excited that we have a sponsor now. We've got very upscale, and the sponsor we have is Mailbox Power. I have a colleague who uses that to build a business. Mailbox Power is a tool, and I use this in my business. I use this it's a tool to develop relationships or deepen relationships through cards and gifting strategies. I use it to help me maintain relations with attorneys, with key members of my sphere of influence, and my team. There's a special training package designed for real estate agents if you're interested. So there's a code that I'll put on the screen if you're watching it on the YouTube or Facebook. Let me see if I can get that on the, I can also get it on the YouTube channel. 1 second. I'll put another Zoom channel. I'll put on the Zoom as well in the chat box. And if you're interested, feel free, or if you want to have questions about it, talk about it. But again, it's a powerful tool, and it's one that my friend has used, and I'm an affiliate off of them, so it helps him with his business. But I think most importantly, it's a great tool to help you be more effective as a real estate agent or a salesperson or business person of any sort. Okay, so that said, I don't see any questions out of the gate at this point, so I'm going to jump right into the topic I prepared. What I'm going to do today, I do this topic about once every 3 or 4 months, is I would review again the 11 different ways that we can generate business, whether you be a real estate agent or investor wholesalers. And my thesis when I started this whole process was that companies who sell you data typically sell you on 1 or 2 methods of generating business. But I felt my business worked better in a couple other lead generation approaches than merely the 2 that were sold most commonly. And so as a result, I want to share that. Catherine will get to that on how I built my business in the courthouse. That's definitely one of the topics that that's on my list. But in addition to the classic 2 ways that companies sell, I've identified actually 11 different ways. And what's fascinating is I've met agents and investors also along the way who've done each one of these 11, or I've done them, as a number one or maybe number two method of prospecting. And so today I thought I would just review through those 11. And then if you have questions on how those work, jump out and ask me. And Catherine will get to the courthouse. Let's talk about that at that point. So just again, a quick recap on who I am. I'm a real estate broker here in Los Angeles, California. Have been since 1986. I've done mortgage and real estate. I've been in sales, management, and ownership. And for the last 3 years, I need to update that. My lead generation has been 100% focused on probate real estate. I think of probate as including legal real estate because I end up working with a lot of attorneys. I have numerous certifications. I don't think of any one of them as my qualification. I think of them as educational way to make me an expert. I've done a lot of research. I've read books. I watch every YouTube I can find. I listen to podcasts on probate and episodes. And I also went to court. When I took Probate Mastery with Chad Corbett, he challenged us to go to court and learn the probate process. One day, I went there one day, turned a week, 1 week turned to a month, and a month turned to about 1.5 years of going every day for lead generation. And as a result of that, I think I've seen more court confirmation sales live in county court over the last, say, 3 years than any attorney, a real estate agent for sure, and probably any judge, because they do about 1 a week, and I was watching about 5 to 8 per week. So I've seen more of those court confirmations than anybody. When I say I'm an expert, that's really the area that I think of as being my expertise. And what I do want to say is whenever you do lead generation, you need to apply fundamentals. What does that mean? You have to have mindset before money. Any transformation or growth will require you to change your mindset for the rest of your business to follow as well. The shortcut in real estate is the hard work, so get ready for it. And I refer you to the Zig Ziglar watermelon story. There's a link here in the YouTube, but it's basically tells you the importance of consistent effort over time beats intense effort in a short period of time. Or as Tony Robbins says, we overestimate what we can do in a day. We underestimate what we can do in 5 years. Also, there's multiple cuts of the tree. And so I've never cut a tree, but I used to watch the Wild World of Sports on television. And what I know is that when they race to cut trees down, they cut from several different sides. And so I think of probate, of cutting the probate from several different avenues. I'll show you today the 11 I've identified. And I believe if you're a full-time agent or full-time investor, and that's your lead gen source, I think you need to attack it from at least 2, probably 3 different angles of attack. There's only 2 things in business you can do to increase business. You can invest money or time. That's all there is. You can invest your time in yourself learning to be better, or invest time on task, lead generation. And you can invest money. You can buy leads, buy data, buy sources, or buy people. But those are only 2 things there are. You can invest in time and or money. When you start, generally you don't have extra money, so you have to invest time. And hopefully today will make your time worthwhile. So here's what I want to ask. I'm going to make a deal with you guys. If I give you one idea today that you can use in your business in 1 hour, if I give you one idea that you think you can use next year to make at least one more transaction worth $10,000 or more, I'd like you to raise your hand or say yes, or put oh yes, or a great idea, something like that. Give me some feedback that you get one idea today in an hour that you're willing to put into work. Is that a fair deal? Yeah? Okay, so let's do this. Real estate's a contact business and a numbers game. You got to talk to a lot of people or touch a lot of people, and where you come from is important. And in my approach to probate from the beginning, most of the probate training I saw, not just Corbett's, but all the others, was more about how you can get the home seller when they're vulnerable and take advantage of them. I took the opposite approach, how to service people, help them get a good outcome, and me make money as well along the way. It would be the solution to all things real estate. So typically, title is the problem and probate is the solution. Somebody has a house, they can't sell it because it's not titled in their name. They need probate in order to solve that problem. And what does probate look like? Grandma or grandpa left me the property, my siblings and I are fighting the property, or the property is supposed to be a trust, but it isn't, or we start a probate and get stuck. These are the kind of phone calls I get every day. And the solutions are all probate related. Grandma, grandpa left the property, solutions help through probate. Maybe lend them money, pay the attorney, or advance money for expenses. If siblings are fighting over the property, the solutions, they get the right attorney to help them win the fight. If the property is supposed to be in a trust, you get an attorney to put it back in a trust. It's called a Hegstead petition in California. And we started probate got stuck. And so either refer to the right kind of attorney or service to get the job done. You can either learn these or call me with a scenario. I have agents, investors call me every day with problems. Usually I can help them solve the problem. Sometimes it requires an agent to help them list the property, get it sold, and that's where I come in and help you. So there's 11 ways. And again, my goal today is that you would perhaps have come here today, if you're interested in probate, maybe been exposed to 2 different methods that the companies that sell the data will typically promote. And my goal is to perhaps offer other ways that you can add to the business to be successful as a salesperson. You would be an agent or an investor. So no one's pre-probate. This is more for investors. And this is where you are looking at properties that somebody's entitled and has passed, and they own property, they cross-reference or they skip trace to get the contact information, name and phone number. Now, obviously, the contact info of the decedent isn't valuable, property address is, but there's people related to them. And so what investors will do is they'll look at properties and find ones that have 2 or 3 different tags, maybe pre-probate, plus distress, plus vacant or tax sale. And they'll postcard those or drive those or have people door knock those. But you can buy the pre-probate data. One of the vendors I've had on my show and I've interviewed my YouTube channel is PropStream. And they sell pre-probate data all across the country. Very cost-effective source for pre-probate data. And then you can skip trace it if you want to do that. And that will give the information of at least their last known email and phone number. Sometimes the family has taken over that contact information, or at least you'll know who's related to that person, get their contact information. So pre-probate is a simple process. You identify the properties and then you market them, whether it be postcards, whether it be door knocking them, driving them. And again, the people who do this and do it well are mailing, let's say, 5,000 or 10,000 a month, and they're hitting 2 or 3 different tag data sources, one of them being pre-probate. Number 2, this is the most commonly sold by companies, which is probate leads marketing directly to the petitioner. Here you buy data from a company, alltheleads.com, MTI, Mike Perez, Foreclosures Daily, or Probate Daily, Paul Horns, Probate Money, there's a number of them. And you get data that includes the probate filing, who the attorney is, the petitioner, perhaps the attorney, or maybe it's pro-per, they're not using an attorney, who they're nominating as the administrator executor, maybe the property, maybe the dollar amount of the value of the property, and contact info. And so agents most commonly use to contact attorneys and or contact, in this case, directly to the petitioner. So we have the name of the petitioner, and oftentimes the attorney fills it out for their client, and the contact info is the attorneys, not the petitioners. And so you can skip trace who the administrator executor is. So a person hires an attorney, the attorney puts their phone number and email on the form, but you have the petitioner, it might be the son or grandson or niece or nephew. And then these services will skip trace that person's contact info, and you can mail them, you can call them, you can postcard them. Now, one of the things about this particular line of marketing is it takes a while on average. The average property sold, even though it doesn't have to, the average property sold in probate is about 2 years. And oftentimes the estate has a property they think they want to keep it, like any other seller, they're not ready to sell it yet. And so the key to this is you have to have a system in place not to market once or twice, not to say you can't get leads the first month or 2, but you have the money is in the follow-up over time. And so you have to have a system in place to stay in touch with them for up to 2 years. In fact, I would say as a business, going back to what it says fundamentals, investing money, you should be investing with an eye towards your return on investment over a 2-year period. Because you can't last out 2 years, it's really expensive to send postcards out if you're not going to stick with it. And I'm not saying you need to postcard it every week or every month. But I'm saying whatever you do, you have to have a plan that at least it's 2 years. Don't stop before the miracle happens. Okay, any questions yet so far? Now remember, if you get one idea that helps you, that you think will help get you one more transaction next year worth $10 or more, you put yes in the box. Thank you. That idea works for me. Let us know that you're going to use that idea in your business in the upcoming year. Okay. Any questions before? Went through the first two pretty quickly. Wednesday, your hands up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, Bill, if you have any experience here with mailing and marketing, and if so, what that was like for you.
Yeah, I did mail pre-COVID, and I stopped when COVID started because the court process dragged out so long. So what happened was return on investment, a break-even might have been 6 months or 9 months, but when the court closed, and for all we knew it could have been for a long time, it turned out for 6 months, it just dragged out the time period to get a break-even on return for investment. As a result of that, I stopped doing postcards in March of 2019, when did 2020, when COVID started. And also that was part of my strategy at the time was stop all spending when COVID started and redesign the business from scratch. So what happened was I restarted March a different business plan, which was online marketing like this, marketing directly to petitioners online and to attorneys, and I no longer use postcards to petitioners or attorneys. I do mail out to attorneys I have a relationship with, but I don't do any cold postcards to anybody this time.
Can I ask how the response was there when you were mailing the postcards and letters out to the petitioners?
About 0.5% would call, and a few when I called would recognize from the postcard, but I think on average, then they were getting 30, 40 postcards or mailings. So one of my rules in marketing, it just depends what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve, but one of my rules is I don't want to do something that I can't dominate. So like, for example, when I went to court every day, I was the person doing that. I was the guy at court. When I started online doing these calls, I'm the only one doing this, right? So surely other agents could compete and do an online call. They're going to have better than me to beat me, I guess. There's plenty of room. I can't stop them. All I can do is be so good that people say, wow, he's doing it. I can't do it as well as he can. So my goal is to be better than competition. So postcards, you either have to mail more often or fancier mail. And I didn't think either one of those as being, for me, a long-term strategy. I think if I was starting again, I would do some postcards where I'm doing them today, but I would make it just more of a piece of my marketing puzzle because you can't dominate it. You can't stand out in it, I don't think. Now, I know there are agents who are, like I was, Mike Ferry trained agents who cold call 3 hours a day, and they're going to call these people, this whole list for 3 hours a day and talk to 40 people a day. And I think it's great. Now, I did that when I was younger. I'm 60 years old. I don't have that time. I don't have the energy anymore to do that on a daily basis. So, and I've also built a business to where I get to talk to people who talk to me. I have agents who call me with referrals. I have families call me with referrals. I have attorneys that call me referrals. So my schedule's booked up with people who want to talk to me rather than people calling. That's me. And I get to brag. I'm just saying, to be honest, I'm not cold calling anybody today. I'm not doing postcards out generically. Okay? And I want to be pretty transparent. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, probate leads marketing to petitioner. We talked about that. You can do that mail. You can call them. You can social media them. I see people do all of those. Again, I think it should be a component. If you're building a business, and also my timeline is a little less. My goal, I started was a 5-year plan. I would be out of production at the end of 5 years. I'll be 65 at that time. If I was younger, I had a longer horizon. I probably would do more postcards because the ROI is about 2 years on that. I don't know that I really want to spend that kind of time chasing down the business. But if I was younger, I probably would do that today. And then the other one is, the one most commonly talked about by companies that sell data is marketing to attorneys. It can be very challenging. Now, I do know people mail to attorneys. Attorneys tell me they get tons of mail. I know people who email the attorney because their emails are on the petition. They get lots of email, lots of spam. They hate being cold called. I do know one guy who's built a business cold calling attorneys. One. That's it can't be done, but he gets a 3-hour a day, probably make phone calls, grinding out. If you build it, then you can maybe add other things to business to leverage that and add other pieces, and that's what I've been able to do. But this way, you buy the data from the same sources, alltheleads.com, Mike Torres, TI, Probate Daily, Probate Data, Probate Money with Paul Moore. And you can email the attorneys, or you can postcard attorneys, or call attorneys. Okay, those are the two most common ways. And we've got 8 more to go. Who's excited to find one more of the last 8? Who besides me is excited? No? Okay, good. Number 4, MLS Full Authority. So what this means is, if you said to me, Bill, I want to be build a probate business. I'm going to cold call attorneys or cold call petitioners. I would say, well, okay, a couple of things you should do. Number 1, you should investigate every property in your MLS that's a probate listing. That way you can watch competition. You should get an idea of how the market is, see who the number 1 competitor is, set a goal to be number 1. You can see how they list their properties, because they'll put private remarks. I subscribe to a search in my MLS that sends me every agent's probate listings with the private remarks. I read what they do. I run reports every quarter on the numbers. But I also look at all the probate listings and offer them to my clients, because buyers think that because it's probate, they're going to get a better deal. It feels like they're going to get a better deal. And so I'll call and say, hey, I've got this listing, it's a probate listing. Rather than switch the whole MLS, I look at property all the time. I'm looking for something to send to an investor, and those are properties I'm going to focus on. But the advantage of those properties for me is, 1, sounds more impressive to a buyer. 2, there's a couple of possible hiccups in a probate, even with full authority, that my expertise will help the customer avoid. Number 3, there's usually an attorney on the other side of the deal, and it's kind of a backwards way to get into the attorney. I can't market them on that transaction to represent it, but I can impress them on that transaction and go after the rest of the business they have to offer. And so as an agent, I definitely would want to look at every single listing in the MLS that's a probate listing to see my competition's doing, and then more importantly, see if I can investors might want to buy them as a way to build my portfolio. Occasionally, one of the downsides of a full authority listing is the estate has to get court confirmation anyhow. Looking at all the processes, generally speaking, full authority means the state can sell the property without going to court, and limited authority means they have to go back to court, generally. But if I have a client who buys a property with full authority and then has to go to court, he may or may not want to go through with the deal. But if he does, now I'm meeting the attorney and the judge in a court case. So again, all the properties, these are the ones I would look at more carefully, because this synergizes with the rest of my business. It's not a lot of work. I get the listing every day, new probate listings. I see the competition is, I see what they're doing on their remarks. And then I just sold one, we closed in November, a full authority property. Came up, it was a listing, showing to investor, he wrote an offer, closed like in 30 days, less 30 days, 21 days, all cash. So it's a quick way to make some money. In that case, to meet the attorney, but sometimes you do. Okay, that's number 4. We still got 7 more to go. Next, limited authority. Now, these are properties that go to court for court confirmation. And there's 2 strategies. One is be first and one's be last. So this is the be first strategy now. If you understand how limited authority works, these properties have to get into escrow, contingencies cleared, the deposit raised typically to 10%, court date set, court approval, then close escrow. So a long ways, it's a lot of extra work. However, it's a niche. It also is a kind of property that appeals to investors who buy properties regularly. It also will get you to meet some of the attorneys or get in front of judges and learn the process. So again, this is a way to improve your business, maybe get a deal or 2. I did probably, a couple of these last year. I did 1 or 2 of these and 1 or 2 full authority. but they were, good money. Each one's probably $10,000 or so, but they were also good experiences for the rest of my business. Okay, number 6, court confirmation sales and auctions. This is what I specialize in. And this requires some expertise and work, and it varies by county. I do this in LA County. I track every single property that goes to sale with court confirmation in LA County. This is where I built my business. If you're in a different county, love talking about it. I don't train people to be competitors, though I do come across competitors in LA County and have a good relationship with them. But I don't train people in LA County, so that's where I make my money. But in other counties, I'm glad to help you build a business based on seeing the properties are coming to confirmation sale, bring an investor when appropriate to the sale to overbid and buy the property. The nice thing there is, if you track a property, they look at it, they said they like it, they go to court, they buy it, you're closing in somewhere between 10 days and 30 days most commonly. So it's pretty fast money. I did about 6 of those in 2021 and about 8 or 9 in 2020. So these are great deals. Let me back up. These are not the bargains most investors think they are. If investors today in our market are paying 70% of ARV, meaning investors just use a general number, look at a property being worth when they sell the actual fair value of say $700,000, then many investors won't pay more than say 70% of 490, right? Well, this is the way they might be able to buy that same property for 480 or 475. It's not a big savings, it's a bit, but full-time investors are always looking for deals. So this is a place you can look and find deals. When I do tell agents in LA County, if you find a property you like, I'm glad to split one with you. At least I get paid something to take you through the process. In other counties, people call me, I can help you. I'm pretty familiar with with Orange, San Bernardino, San Diego counties on how those processes work. But if you're in another county, the more obscure county, the more opportunity there is for you. There's not that many of these, but the fact there's fewer means that there's more opportunity for you to be the expert on this in your county. Okay, any questions on this? Or anything before? No? Can't see anything in the chat box. I think we're clear. Yes, Winston.
Come on, Winston.
But with the way COVID is speaking again, are we seeing the courts closing, going back to Zoom? Are they still fairly open here in Southern California?
Yeah, so every court's a little different. LA County, you can't go to court unless you have business before the court, but you can go to court to bid on a property when it's scheduled. You also can go via video ahead of time. You just have to call the attorney ahead of time to make proper arrangements. That can work to your advantage or disadvantage. I like to go in person because that way there's no mistakes, there's no technical errors. I get to see the judge, he can hear me directly, there's a contact. So I go in person when we're bidding on a property. Even in LA County, by law, they're allowed to today. But they're going to try to encourage as much as possible it's going to be a video. In Orange County, I don't know the answer specifically. Every county is a little different. Okay, good question. Okay, number 7, courthouse farming. Now, this one's pretty much on hold due to COVID. This is where I started making my money, and I think Christine asked the question when we started on how I did this. But what I'll tell you is when I started, Catherine, when I started in probate, my coach, Chad Corbett, challenged me to go to court just to learn the process and see what it looked like once. I found it fascinating. I found buyers there, sellers there, attorneys there. Everyone I do business with was in the room, right? It's kind of like when I was in college going to a sorority house. There's all these pretty girls in sorority house. Of course, I'll go to anything at a sorority house. And so the courthouse seemed like a natural place for me to go. And I tried to find a way to generate business. So what I learned was in LA County, the morning calendar started at 8:30 and will wrap up around 9:30, 10 o'clock was the most viable piece of calendar on a daily basis. And so I go to court at 7:45. My goal is to be seated, or I should say standing, with a cup of coffee at the key spot on the second floor between the two main hallways. with a cup of coffee, dressed in a suit and tie, with a lawyer-like briefcase, door knocking, basically. If you're a real estate agent, you know what that looks like, walking in the neighborhood door knocking. And rather than just door knocking who I wouldn't talk to, I was looking at anybody I could, looking at people in the hallway. It got to where people would actually say, hey, can you help me? I'm looking for this or department that. And so I became kind of one of the experts of the county courthouse. One of the things that also was I created a meetup to train investors at the courthouse, show them what it looked like. And to this day, I have people who have called back with leads or joined my team that I met back when the courthouse was open. So this is a year and a half ago. People will call me and say, hey, I met you at the court. You were nice enough to show me what to do. You always know what you're doing. And I have some questions, can you help me? So I would definitely urge you, especially if you're outside of LA County, since I do this in LA County, I would urge you to consider doing this in your county courthouse if you're so inclined. I enjoy going to court. I like wearing a suit and tie. I don't mind getting there early because I like to work early and end my workday earlier as well. That's me. So if this fit for my program, my marketing, it doesn't work for everybody. Hey, Howard Colbert, welcome to the call. Long time to talk to you, man. Okay, that is number 7, courthouse. Catherine, did that answer your questions? No?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Okay. And then Rochelle asks, I'm in San Bernardino County, maybe wants to try to go to court together and tag team. So check Rochelle Raquel is in the chat box, and she's interested in going to San Bernardino County Court. I hear San Bernardino County Court when a state petitions for letters and gets approved, the court will actually do the paperwork right there and sign it on the spot. That's fantastic. I don't know that probate's done in Rancho Cucamonga. You have to find out where in San Bernardino County probate's done. It used to be in LA. It was done in remote courthouses, and then they moved them all, centralized them all to one location downtown LA. I believe in San Bernardino, they're all done at the San Bernardino County Courthouse in San Bernardino, but you should research that and find out. Okay, next, living trusts from consumers. So what this means is we all have people we know, like, and trust, who know, like, and trust us. You can call them your center of influence, your sphere of influence. If you're Keller Williams, your Mets, people who know, like, and trust you. And you can reach out to them to help them avoid probate by doing some estate planning. Living trust or an estate plan can avoid probate and save their family tens of thousands of dollars. Definitely worth doing. So if you market that, you'll find that people call you with questions related to that, like, well, we have property, but it's not a trust, it should be the trust. Or, so-and-so died, you do a trust, now they're arguing over it, that's a probate pleading. So when you talk about a topic and give value to people, you get business back. So I have a special deal with trustandwills.com where I can offer, in fact, I should put that in the chat box. Jess, if you're going to call, I don't know if you're there or not, if you could put in the chat box the trustandwills.com link, because they give us, I don't have an affiliate with them, but they give there's a link I have that gives you a 10% discount for, let's see real quick. Trust. Do I have that? Okay, well, anyhow, we'll put it in the show notes afterwards. But I have a discount from trustandwills.com that I can share with you that I give to my customer. They send an email out once a quarter to talk about how you can save 10% on an estate plan or a will, if you want to do a will. But for most people, if you own a property, a trust is going to be a better solution, part of a better solution. And as a result of that, they'll save 10% if they go through the company. And let me see if I have the code. I think I found it. No. No good. Okay, well, there you go. Oh, there it is. Copy code. Go to chat box right now. But yeah, and I think, again, this is something you can give to, this isn't for me, I don't get 10%. This is for customer to get 10% off. And it's the kind of thing that I think is a good value to give to people to establish yourself as value to your customers. I believe I should have it. I have a living trust with my wife. And that way we avoid probate. And I share my clients, and then I'll give them a link. If they do that, they save 10%. You can, if you trust the wills, buy a package of them and then give them to them at a discount or charge them the retail price and pocket the difference, make a little bit of money. I don't like doing all that. I just try to keep it simple. I have a coupon code. If it helps people, I couldn't be happier. Okay, that's number 8. We have 3 more to go. 9, 10, and 11. Has anybody here also forgotten at least one thing that will help you generate, you think, at least one transaction in 2022? So raise your hand up, say aye, put something in the chat box. Let's make sure we're getting your value of this call, because you're spending an hour. I want you to get $10,000 for the time out. Good, Winston, back to your it. It was just you, Winston, it was worth it. This is the power of social media. If I get 2 of you to say yes, I got more than 2 of you. If I get 2 of you to say yes, I've created $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in 1 hour. For the rest of the people, it all works out for all of us. Okay, good. Dave Gwynn, nice. Okay, number 9, living trust from attorney referrals. This one's a little different. We're attorneys to do estate planning. And actually, it's really the right term is estate planning. So what better way to earn their business than help them build their business? So what I've done is I interview attorneys to promote their business, or if they have online or live back pre-COVID events, I promote those events, get my clients to go there in exchange so I can help work with their clients and make their event better. So I'll share with them my tips on how to host a better event, be more effective. And then I can also contact their clients and offer assistance, like if you own property, I can pull your deeds for free. So when you prepare your estate plan, you have the proper deeds are ready to go. And so that's one of the things I do for attorneys, the way to earn their business. I do this a lot. I say this is one of my number 1 marketing tools. It requires some trust with attorneys, it requires some marketing tools and work, and some money. I've invested in assistance. And you can start with 1. And here's what I tell everybody who's a real estate agent. You all have clients you sold houses to. Some of them already have estate plans. Find out the attorney your clients use, call that attorney, say, hey, we have mutual clients, Bob and Mary. I sold my house. You did their estate plan. I talk to people all the time buying houses. I believe in the importance of estate planning. Would you be interested if I refer people to writing their estate plans? The reason you ask that is because some attorneys don't write them anymore. They just want to manage them. And if they say yes, now you have something you can refer some business to. Don't ask for referrals. Get referrals for them. You'll get business back. That's just the way life works. Okay, let me just check one more spot. I think we're good. Yes, we are. Okay, that is number 9, living trust or estate planning from attorney referrals. Number 10 is COI referrals. So here's the thing. Particularly real estate agents, we're scared to position ourselves as limited in one niche. We're afraid we lose the rest. Who besides me has been to a networking event and also stands up and says, hi, I'm a specialist in first-time home buyers, selling houses, short sales, REOs, mobile homes, industrial, commercial, multifamily, and I sell bridges. Who's seen that realtor over and over again besides me? But by being an expert, you're going to get more inquiries from the people you know already, because you're putting out to them, you're an expert, you're inviting them if they need your expertise. And that was, oh, gee, turns out my cousin has a probate or has a question involving probate or estate planning. So once you put your expertise out to your COI, don't be afraid to market them. We think, oh, I don't want to tell them I'm a probate expert because they won't buy a house through me. Wrong. They're more likely to buy a house from you because you're a probate expert or whatever expert you happen to be. So don't shy off from niche again. And number 11 is networking. And networking can be what I call secular or specific to real estate. So for example, you can network with real estate investors, going to real estate investment clubs. You can network with mortgage people, title people, escrow people. You can go to NARAP and the Asian group and the women's group and the whatever group to network with people for referrals. Or you can go with called secular networking, like BNI or the TIP or Chamber of Commerce or Rotary Club. The more you network, the more people you know, the more you network, the more your net worth. I know an agent in Georgia whose business comes from networking with people who specialize in caregiving. Her contacts work for companies that contract caregivers for families. And as a result of that, those families occasionally need to sell a property, tell the representative, and the rep refers the listing to her, and she gets to sell the house. Right? You can make a whole living just on that. I know anyone who did that. All she does is calls on, and she's entitled for those people, but I call them salespeople in the adult care industry. And if you found everyone in LA or everyone in Orange County, or everyone in Ventura, and you called them all, emailed them all, and invited them to online marketing events, buy them lunch, and network with those people, just a niche, you can make a huge business just in that one niche. You dominate it. So think of networking both broadly, generic networking, and going deep in one narrow niche. Either one of them are viable. So we covered 11 different ways. And this is on YouTube. I can watch it again if you have questions. So first question, have you got at least one more way today that you can go after in 2022 and get a deal? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, put yes, or raise your hand, or chat box, or I need to say yes. Okay, I'm taking these other ways, I'm looking how I can implement all of them in my business. Some cases I do them, some cases I'm finding somebody else to do them. I'll give you an example. The mailbox power. I'm looking for a real estate agent who wants to market their business using mailbox power as a tool on my team to be my mailbox power expert, a demonstrator for agents to help us be better with tool. Right? So I'm looking for somebody on my team to do that. I'm not doing it myself. That's one little subject of networking. But you can think of each of these 11. There's multiple ways to run a business in each of those 11. It's infinitely deep. It doesn't have to look like the way that I think companies who sell data make it look like is every single transaction is a nail and they're going to sell you a hammer. It's not the way it is. Every transaction has different nuances. Your goal is to find how you can best approach the customer, give us value, so they're going to value you as their resource and for your business. Okay, so those are the 11 ways to wrap up, and we'll go through them again real fast. 1, pre-probate. This is primarily investors, wholesalers. Wow, there's a whole question. 1 second. Marcy, yes, thank you. Need help for 3 big buyers. Okay, so Al's looking to network in our chat box. Very good. Al, your broker. Nice to see you. So 11 ways. We'll recap real fast. 1, pre-probate. These are somebody owns a property and I researched who they are, the property, and then you can skip trace who their family members are, or post a card to the property, or door knock the property, or do the property. 2, probate is marketing to the petitioners. So there's a family member who gets an attorney to figure out who that person is, not their attorney, and marketing to them. Most commonly phone calling them and postcarding them, skip tracing, maybe emailing and social marketing. 3, probate marketing to the attorneys. Again, buying the data from the filings, the attorney's information is on the filing, their name, their address, their phone number, their email, and then marketing directly to the attorneys. 4 is MLS, properties that do not need court approval. So listed for sale, they're listed as probate, they're pretty much like any other probate, any other sale. They're probably special forms, a little special problem to avoid or two, but a good way to meet probate attorneys and build a business. Then there's limited authority, those that need court approval, looking for properties for your buyers and presenting them. Court confirmation sales, going to court, bringing investors and overbidding at the court. This is what I do a lot of. 6, courthouse farming, pre-COVID or after COVID, going in and being able to meet people, buyers, sellers, attorneys, vendors. 8 is living trust from consumers, promoting your customers getting estate plans, and as a result of that, getting a chance to work on their real estate. 9 is working with attorneys on estate planning, helping them build their business and in turn that works back for you. 10 is COI referrals by promoting yourself to your center of influence, a sphere of influence, or METs as a probate expert, by marketing them, inviting them to events, inviting them, giving them valuable material on the importance of planning and such. They'll refer your business. And 11, networking. And this could be several pieces of the puzzle that's all you do. Unlimited possibilities of network. Network secular, non-real estate, or you can find one niche or really deep with it. And again, my thesis is you should have, if you're a full-time agent, 2 or 3 of these minimum, or dabble in 4 or 5 or 6 of them like I do, or even more seriously in more than that. Okay, so that's what I have to share on the 11 ways to generate business. Questions, comments? Yeah.
Bill, I got one for you.
Okay, Dave.
Thanks again. Great stuff as always. Yeah, I guess what are your top 2 or 3 icebreaker intro with an attorney if you're at the courthouse, or even I don't know if you mentioned this one, but going up even to, you're seeing somebody that's doing a lot of probates and you go to their office and kind of door knock at their office. Is that one that you've used, or is it mainly at the courthouse?
So I've not gone cold to attorneys' offices. I could. I used to when I started mortgage business. I used to cold call real estate offices when I was in the mortgage business, but I've not done that. I had in mind pre-COVID, I had in mind to hire starting out agents, assigning them a little area of attorneys that I've been marketing to, kind of like accounts and an account rep, kind of like a title rep, where their job would be to visit them once a week and drop off pens or donuts or something like that. So I can see that business. I'm not, I'm 62 years old, I'm turning 63 next month. I'm not going to start cold calling today. And certainly COVID, you probably can't, and I'm not going to. But I can see doing it. I can see the value of going into offices, but it does take going there regularly, just like a title rep or a mortgage rep. Going into offices, you got to go once a week, I think at least, or more. And I think you want to make it so it's not cold. You want to come and bring value to the relationship rather than just come and show up at time looking for a referral. So bringing expertise, bringing information, bringing value to them would be the key. In court, I was there every day. After a while, people saw me. Even the most active attorneys, that most were there. There are a couple who were there daily, a handful. After that, most of them were there once a week, but they'd see me, and they'd see me every time they were there. And so after a while, it wasn't cold. I could walk up and say hi and introduce myself. But I've learned how to just walk up and introduce myself and say hi to people and try to find something to talk about. So that's just a skill that you have to develop. Is I practice. When I go, my daughter would kill me, but whenever I'm in an elevator, I always introduce myself to people in the elevator, just as a tool. I feel like we're there for 30 seconds, we might as well enjoy the time, and I'll just start talking to people. My daughter would say, "Daddy, how do you do that?" But it's a skill like anything else I learned how to do. Hope that helps a little bit.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions, comments before we wrap up? I see a hand up. I can't tell whose hand it is. Or is that a clap? I can't tell who's clapping. What is it?
Hey, Bill, you want to talk a little bit, and this is primarily for the California folks, about the change in the new purchase agreement and how they've taken away the probate purchase agreement and now made an addendum to the new RPA?
Yeah. So in California, we have, as of December 14th, a brand new residential purchase agreement form. Whereas in the past, we had a separate probate purchase agreement form. This new form has a checkbox and it gets integrated in a probate purchase agreement addendum that has the probate verbiage in it on the purchase side. So you would use the standard purchase agreement check the box for the probate addendum, and to make sure you add the probate addendum to the property as well. Probate addendum's been around for a long time because when you bought probate property, a vacant land, you use the vacant land in the old days purchase agreement with the probate addendum. So I'm familiar with that form. It's been around a while, but I would urge anybody who's writing an offer that be familiar with where the little check box is on the addendum. I think it's the third page. And then just read through the probate addendum, and it's pretty straightforward.
So Bill, just to be clear, that's the new purchase agreement standard that we're supposed to use. There's no separate probate purchase agreement anymore?
Yeah, there's no more probate purchase agreement. You would use the standard residential purchase agreement form and then add the addendum for the probate purchase agreement addendum.
Are there buses for other terminals?
Good point.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Yeah, the probate purchase agreement form, I don't think it is available anymore. I think the form disappeared when the new one was available. Good, other questions here? Well, not seeing any. We're pretty much at the end of the hour anyhow, so I really appreciate you guys. I want to, again, I'm just kind of excited to say I have a sponsor, Probate, Mailbox Power, affiliate of them is sponsoring our show. So if you're interested in that service to mail postcards to, I think primarily your current customers or relationships. I use it to mail postcards to attorneys, holiday cards to attorneys, gifts to referral sources, and gifts to my team. It's a tool I use to do that. And so if you're interested in more about that, and there's a video training class specifically for real estate people, how to use it as an agent as well. If you're interested, check that out or contact me. I'd be more glad to set you up with that. If you are a Mailbox Power real estate agent, I'd love to talk to you about joining my team and being the person on these calls to promote it. Other than that, I'm Bill Gross. I'm the LAProbate expert. We do this every Thursday, 4 p.m. On Tuesdays, we do real estate investing call at 3 p.m., real estate investing Zoom.com. And then we launched this week on Wednesdays, a home buying seminar, 5 p.m. for people to buy a home. If you had not bought your own residence, we would walk through the process and network with lenders and credit people to help people who want to buy houses as well. So I'm on social media, Bill Gross EXP. My YouTube channel is Bill Gross EXP. Feel free to reach out, call, text, or email in any way. I say normally make today your best day ever. Obviously, with the holiday coming up, enjoy your Christmas holiday with your family or however you do that. Enjoy the time off if that's where you're at. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.